the Pioneer viewers, how are you doing? I hope you're healthy and well. As the Pioneer team, we continue to convey the Russia-Ukraine war to you. In a moment, we will tell you about the struggle between the Russian army and the Ukrainian army with a map. Recent reports often mention the developments on the Kherson front line. The strong advance of the Ukrainian armed forces on the Kherson front line continues. Ukrainian troops in the region continue their traditional advance against Russian positions. The front line is very active. There are quite hot developments. In addition to the Kherson front line, many important developments are taking place on the Zaporizhia, Donetsk and the Bakhmut front lines. As we have stated in our previous reports, the Ukrainian army has a difficult job on the Donetsk front line. However, this does not mean that the job is over. The Ukrainian armed forces are still making an intense effort to repel the Russian armed forces. So what is happening on the front lines? Let's take a look at the developments together. As the Pioneer team, we continue to work intensively to bring you the developments in the Russia-Ukraine war. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so as not to miss our daily map reports and reports on the agenda. You can also support me and my team by using the super thanks button below the video. This support will make us very pleased. Let's start if you are ready. The Pioneer report. Let's do something different today and start by analyzing the developments on the Bakhmut front line. As you know, in recent days, the Ukrainian army has lost control of some areas north of Bakhmut city center. The reason for this is obvious. The Ukrainian army has deployed troops in this region in order to strengthen the wide defense line on the Donetsk front line. Therefore, Ukrainian positions north of the Bakhmut front line have been weakened. Russian troops seized the opportunity and captured several Russian positions in the direction of Berkhivka. According to the latest reports, the Russian army is again on the offensive in the northern part of the Bakhmut front line. However, it seems that the positions of the Ukrainian armed forces in the area have been strengthened. The latest Russian attacks were successfully repelled by the Ukrainian defense forces in this area. On the southern flanks of the Bakhmut front line, the defensive operations of the Ukrainian armed forces continue. As we have already mentioned, the Ukrainian defense positions in this region are quite strong. At the same time, the geographical advantages of the regions and also in the favor of the Ukrainian army. According to the latest reports, Russian armed forces carried out attacks against Ukrainian positions in the direction of Klishchivka. However, there was no change in the borderline. Ukrainian defense forces managed to repel the Russian troops. Moreover, the Ukrainian defense forces in the region are being regularly reinforced. From this point of view, we don't think that the Russian troops have a chance to advance in the vicinity of the Klishchivka. Let us continue with the artillery activity in the region. According to the latest reports, Russian artillery units targeted Ukrainian positions in the direction of Klishchivka, Ivanivsky and Berkhivka. Ukrainian artillery, on the other hand, targeted Russian positions in Kordomuivka, Ozorinivka and the city center of Bakhmut. Let us continue by analyzing latest developments on the Donetsk front line. As we have already mentioned, Russian troops are conducting large-scale operations on the Donetsk front line. We know that these operations have been going on for about a month and a half. We have often stated in our previous reports that the Ukrainian army needs to fortify this region. There is a line of defense at the moment. However, this defense line is of course not infinite. If the Ukrainian army does not fortify the defense line here and fails to push back the Russian attack positions by carrying out a lightning operation, there is a high probability that we will have to talk about a large-scale retreat on the Donetsk front line. According to the latest reports, after artillery attacks, the Russian armed forces went on the offensive and managed to advance near Novomykhailovka and Mariinka. Similar actions were carried out on the eastern and the northern eastern outskirts of the Pevamovsky, Severny and Avdiivka. However, Russian forces did not succeed during these attacks in this area. In Stepnoe, Russian forces managed to force the Ukrainian armed forces to withdraw from the village. The Ukrainian defense in this area managed to resist for a long time. However, the time had come for the tactical withdrawal. Further attempts to hold on could not lead to the destruction of all Ukrainian troops in the area. The area in question is in a gray zone. The gray zone between the two armies are expanded considerably. This is related to the intensification of hostilities. There is also cross-frontal fighting on the Donetsk front line on the Slang Hips near Yuzhnoye, northwest of Herlivka, where troops of both armies are fighting intensively. There is a high probability that radical changes will take place here in the coming days. Now let's continue by analyzing the latest developments in the Robotny sector of the Zaporizhia front line. According to the latest reports, Ukrainian infantry forces, supported by the Ukrainian artillery, have launched an offensive near Novoprokopivka and Dverbov. As we have often mentioned in our previous reports, we will not provide any information about the importance of these regions in this report. According to the latest reports, the Ukrainian armed forces have failed to make new gains here. Infantry units of the Russian armed forces attacked Ukrainian positions in Novoandriivka, Robotnyo and Novodanilovka and Malaya Tokmakta. However, these attacks were successfully repulsed by the Ukrainian defense forces. The Ukrainian army has maintained its presence on the Zaporizhia front line for a long time. So far, there are no signs that the Ukrainian army is losing strength in the region. Let's talk about artillery activity in the region. According to the latest reports, artillery units of the Russian armed forces targeted the positions of the Ukrainian armed forces deployed in the direction of Robotny, Malaya Tokmakta, and Novodanilivka. In turn, artillery units of the Ukrainian armed forces targeted positions of the Russian armed forces in Nestryanka, Kopani, Rivne, Ichenko, Novoprokopovka, and Fedorivka. Now let's continue by analyzing the latest developments on the Kherson front line. As you know, Ukrainian offensives in this area continue to wear down Russian positions. When we look at this region, we see that the attacks are again concentrated on the Poima, Pechenivka and Krinky axis. Ukrainian artillery units in the region are working quite strongly. The resistance power of the Russian armed forces is about to collapse. We see that the intensive attacks in the region have caused a great panic in the Russian sources. Let us also mention the artillery activity in the region. According to the latest reports, Russian artillery units targeted Ukrainian positions in Antonivka, Tagarevka, Tigiivka, Novotiginka, Lviv, Kazatskoy, and Berslav. In turn, Ukrainian artillery units targeted Russian armed forces positions in Olapristan, Alyoshki, Kazakh camps, Dnipryani, Novokakhovka, and Kakhovka. What do you think? Do you think the Ukrainian army will be able to regain the tactical advantage on the Bakhmut front line? What do you think about the Ukrainian defense on the Donetsk front line? What is your opinion about the developments on the Zaporizhia front line? Do you think Ukrainian troops will be able to advance on the Kherson front line? Let me know in the comments. I read and care about all your comments.